Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're looking at an ABPIR 170-piece survival kit that I had gotten off of Amazon. Now this is something I had gotten mainly for, I think I have a kitty cat that wants to join us, putting into our vehicles just in case we have something happen or whatever. You know, we're on the road, whatever. It's a survival kit which is going to be good for preppers, but I just felt it was probably a decent survival kit just for whatever. Okay, just the fact that it's got like a small folding shovel in there and other good useful tools, I thought it was good and appropriate. So let's kind of get this opened up and look at this itself. So as a pack itself, it does have a medical symbol on here. There is a U.S. flag that can go on here. This is kind of a Molly setup, so yes, we have all the spots here that you can either fasten stuff onto or whatever, and we can also fasten this onto some sort of belt or whatever. We also have the clips in that, so we have that availability, as well as this could become its own little backpack. Probably not the most comfortable, but it could become a small little survival pack of its own. So let's start taking things out, looking at it, and seeing what we have. So first off, we do have a first aid kit complete with overly friendly kitty cat this morning. Looking at it, we do have tweezers. Come on, kitten. Oh my goodness. She is lovey-dovey this morning. We do have tweezers and all that in here, so now that I have her off of here, now we can try and take a look. We have some cleaner pads, alcohol pads, alcohol wipes. We do have some Q-tips in here, as well as, like I said, we have a tweezers. Some sort of tape, so a small bandage, medical tape, some gauze bandage, various band-aids, as well as a small scissors. Let's see, left in here, we do have a small strap that would be probably good if you're trying to do a like drawing blood or given an IV or whatever, which we don't have. And then they also have some safety pins in there for trying to hold the gauze and all that together. So it's a small pack. Gives you just some basic stuff in here, which I think is kind of nice. And like I said, this is something just to keep in the vehicle. So try to get all the air out of here again. All right, let's get on to our next piece here. So we do have a lantern. This is our, the more popular little kind of pop-up lantern. It takes 3 AAA batteries in here, so I mean, if you get a kit like this, do keep in mind what kind of batteries you're going to need, because you're obviously going to need to pack some batteries in there that the kit itself does not come with. As I've got my dishwasher running in the background. So, but these do give off quite a bit of light. So, I mean, if you're stuck in your car for a couple hours or whatever, waiting for emergency tow vehicles or whatever else on a winter snowy day, you have something here. Now, hopefully, as it's usually advised, you're keeping at least a half a tank of gas. So that way, if your car goes off the road or something like that, you can at least keep the car running if it's able to stay running, so that way you have heat. That's always going to be the biggest thing. But even if it's in the summer, if it's really hot and you're just kind of sweltering there in the heat, depending on where you are, you might want to have the air conditioner running. But if you don't have that availability, you at least have a lamp to try and help keep some light there. And then we have a small utensil set. So we do have a spork set up here. And we have an emergency blanket. So these are always kind of nice. Do keep in mind which way it's facing. Now this one looks like it's reflective on both sides, so I don't think it really makes a huge difference, but there are some that are reflective on one side and not on the other, so you got to make sure that you have the reflective side towards you to help hold that heat in. Let's see. And then these have become popular, and honestly I don't understand the big popular trend of this. We have a paracord bracelet. Now, like I said, I don't understand the big popularity with these. Now, I know I've been out of the military for a while, so I'm sure I'm out of the loop on this. So there's part of that. But it does come with a little compass, so as you have this on your wrist, you can see roughly which way you're going. The only problems I've had with these really small compasses is sometimes the way they sit in here. And of course, this is, a cheap kit from China. Whether that's a huge difference or not, but quite often with these small compasses, you have to have that fairly level for it to really work correctly. Now it is reading north, so that's reading good, but if you're holding it up, then sometimes it just does not want to. It's doing pretty good, but I've had some real cheap ones that, it doesn't want to stay true to the correct directions. All right, there's our patch for our kit. All right. Now this is a signal whistle. Kind of good because, I mean, if you're looking at it as a sense of, you get into a ditch or something, you're trying to get someone's attention, here you are. Of course, if you're not trying to get someone's attention, then I wouldn't worry too much about it. We have a small saw. So these are those pole saws. So essentially, you're going to put it on a piece of wood, and you're just going to kind of saw it that way, back and forth. I've never really used one of these. I think that's going to have to be something that we do during the summer, which I know I've talked to the family of. We need to try some of this stuff. But take one and actually try and see exactly how good it does. As of so far, I haven't needed to, so here we are. But it is in there in case you do need to get a couple branches, especially if you're going to be sitting there saying, hey, I'm going to be out here for a couple hours, I'm cold, and maybe want a fire or something, preferably away from the vehicle. And depending on what your climate is like, I mean, I'm here in Wisconsin. There are times where we're not supposed to burn anything because it's just too dry. We don't want to set everything ablaze, like what's going on over in California at the time of filming all this. So, be mindful of all that, right? All right. Oh, our next one here is our shovel. So, it's an interesting setup on how they have the shovel here. It's not my standard e-tool that I'm used to. Again, it's got, when you take this out, you can put this on your belt. So you have that sitting out here. Not having played with this yet, here we are. This could be a standard setup, very much as what we have for our military e-tool. So as we're going through here, now we have a pick. So if you're trying to, dig up some dirt and need to loosen it up, you have the pick, and we also have our spade. Now the nice thing is we also have a bottle opener on our spade, and we also have a saw end here. Now this, I don't think this is really going to do all that much for a saw, but having it serrated like this, that might help get through some roots, which I know with our e-tools, that's typically how we're going to do it. This screwing in here, I don't know. It seems like it's fairly solid, but more than likely, I think if you're needing to shovel and you're in a vehicle, it's probably to try and get snow or something out of the way. This would definitely do for that. I don't think you're going to have too much of an issue. But like I said, I mean, these are kits that I got for our vehicles, so hoping that it's as innocent as just kind of you went off the road, you're just waiting for something to happen. Now, everybody's got their own views as to why they need survival kits and everything else, which is perfectly fine. I'm just trying to be as innocent as I can be on the hopes of the world and everything else. But it's nice having a small little collapsible shovel. The handle does fit in here, works out pretty good. Get a couple things here. Okay. Let's see what we have out of our big grab bag here. All right, so now we have our carabiner, so that way we can use for our paracord. So they do give us a small length of paracord here. Let's see. Now we have a multi-tool with a hammer and a little hatchet as well. So outside of having all your typical, we have a knife. This has a it's a serrated knife, screwdriver, and it's a file. So if you needed to file something down, you could do that. Next one being a multi-wrench here. So we have that availability. Again, we have another can opener, or bottle opener, I should say, on here. Let's see here. Now we have another small saw, so if you're trying to saw something, you can do that, as well as a Phillips screwdriver. And I've got a cat that for some reason thinks it's got to go downstairs. And I do have a Phillips screwdriver, Phillips head screwdriver sitting here. And last but not least, we do have a blade. Exactly how good or bad the blade is, it doesn't feel overly sharp. It does get a little bit sharper towards the end, but it was an inexpensive set. Outside of having a small little hatchet, which there feels to be a little bit more blade on here than there was on the knife blade, but we also have the hammer, and we can open this up, and we also have a pliers. Oh, that does open a little on the hard side, but we do have a pliers here, as well as a wire cutters. So it gives us a couple of other ideas, tools, things that we might need. So that's always kind of nice. Let's see here. Okay, we have a flint and steel, so we can try and start a fire. Now these are little kind of starters themselves, so we're going to kind of spark that into these, get it started, smoke it a little bit, and then kind of blow onto it so that way it can get going. Again, this is something I don't really have a lot of experience on, and this summer it's a kind of a plan because we have stuff like this. I've never really done this. I've never needed to. It's something I figured that, well, then I guess it's something I'm going to have to try and learn. So we may have some videos of me just failing horribly at some of this stuff, and going from there. Because the only way we learn is by doing, and sometimes we have to fail a couple times in order to do this. So, all right, a little belt loop. Now this is actually really good for like our standard flashlights, kind of like the old Meg lights. We used to have clips like this to go onto a Meg light, so that way you can kind of carry that on your belt. All right, we already talked about the paracord and that. Now this is a pocket knife. Okay, so we actually have a cord cutter, so you can get your paracord in here. You can kind of cut that, and then we have a folding blade here. Now, I know this is very popular, having the serrated edges, which they do become handy at times. The only downfall is really for most people, if you're carrying a knife sharpener, you're not carrying a sharpener for a serrated edge. You can sharpen this part of the blade, but you're not typically getting in here to sharpen your serrated edge. So that is always going to be an issue for a lot of people that, we don't carry stuff around for that. I mean, some people might, but there again, if you're talking about a survival kit or whatever, now you have to carry a different type of sharpener for a serrated edge, and that does take up more room. Okay. Now fishing line. We have a couple, kind of looks like bobbers in here or something. I don't know what those are supposed to be. I'm just being honest. We do have some weights in here and a couple hooks. Now, one of the things, and it's surprising where I get some of my inspirations from, I'm watching an old Western. Now, in the Western, the guy didn't actually have a fishing rod. He just grabbed some line, kind of swung it out there with like a stick for a bobber, and that's how he was fishing. Just, get a worm or a grub or something and put it on there. My biggest complaint with a lot of these little kits or whatever, especially the ones that go into the Rambo knife knockoffs or whatever, really you're expecting to put it onto a stick or whatever and fish off of that. I think if we're going to do that, why not get a small little collapsible rod if you're going to do it in a actual homemade kit, or make sure you have plenty of line so you don't need a rod itself. You can just kind of throw it out there and kind of pull it on your own. But that's my idea of it. Honestly, we have small pack rods now. I think you could probably just find room to throw a little pack rod in there. But, it is what it is. And the fact that they throw this in here on a cheap little kit, it's always kind of interesting. And I'm getting down towards the end from the looks of it. All right, so the last couple things we have here. They give us a couple glow sticks. These are always kind of nice. The funny thing is quite often they'll say that these are good for 4 hours. I've had these last for up to like 8 to 12 hours. They're not a lot of light, but it is something. If you're sitting here without batteries in here because you forgot to put the batteries, at least you have something in there, especially if you have kids in the car. It gives them something fun and keeps them entertained. If we're just talking about, the innocent things of you slid off the road, you got the family in there, you're just trying to keep everybody happy and entertained. You have that stuff. And last but not least, we have this, which I'm not 100% certain what it is. Oh, okay. So, this is a multi-tool. Now we have a knife blade on here. We have a I gotta love it when my mind just suddenly blanks. Flathead screwdriver. We have a ruler. We have a small, like a small wrench, a little bit larger wrench. We have a small saw here. I don't know exactly what that's notched out for, and I think we have we have can opener, knife edge. This is our can opener right here. Screwdriver, ruler, cap opener. That's probably this. Okay, 4-position wrench, which is going to be this one. Butterfly wrench. I don't know which ones are butterfly wrench. I'm just being honest. I really don't know. Saw blade, which is here. Direction ancillary indication. So that should be this one. 2-position wrench. I'm guessing it's that. And then lanyard hole right here. Now, I don't know what that is. Maybe that's part of that 2-position wrench. I don't know. But just trying to be honest here. 7 and 10. All right. 10 is our 2-position wrench. 7 is our butterfly wrench. So that's our butterfly wrench. That's our 2-position. Okay. getting to be an older person or whatever, some of this stuff I don't always know what it all is, but it's a nice small. I mean, this will fit in your wallet, or if you want to have it on a lanyard. But I don't think I'd be very happy having a little knife blade sitting there, possibly poking me while I'm walking. But the fact that it's there as an extra little tool. It wasn't a very expensive. I think it was like $35 or something like that. Like I said, for something to throw in your vehicle, to just have there in case something happens, especially having a small shovel there, in case it's early winter and you forget to put your small little folding snow shovel in there, which I've always tried to keep, because in my small town, we always plow all the snow into the middle of the road, and then the city will pick it up later. But there are times where they haven't picked it up, and you kind of get stuck, and you just need to shovel yourself out a little bit. So if you at least have a small shovel in there, just getting through town. But if you happen to get out of town and something happens, like I said, you run off the road, you need something to kind of help you. You have some items here, so it's a nice little kit to throw in there. Kind of forget about it, but try not to forget about batteries if you can, and just go from that point. But it's like I said, it's something. So with that, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for visiting. It's always wonderful having you here. Hope you have a wonderful day, and we will see you in the next video.